Alright, so I'm looking for an opponent in round 5 of this league that I've been recording, and we're hoping for a 5-0. I'm recording this on a Saturday at about 11:50 in the morning, right before noon. So I don't know if there are any Magic Online challenges or anything going on right now. I think there are. I think there usually are on the weekends. So I'm not sure what type of deck I will run into for the 5-0. Looks like I won the die roll, that's nice. Looks like my hand has a Stoneforge and a Paladin and a Saga. It's a pretty solid hand. So what am I doing on turn 1? Am I playing the Saga on 1? If I get discard spelled, playing the Saga on 1 is pretty weak. Pretty bad for me, rather. So probably turn 1, just like Plains Drum or fetch Plains Drum. Maybe just natural Plains Drum. And then turn 2, Saga, Stoneforge, Hammer. Oh, I'm definitely keeping. And we'll figure out how to get there, because I have two ways to get a hammer and a way to attach a hammer, so that's what I'm looking for. The reason I didn't play the fetch land is that the reality chip lets me see the top card of my deck, and if I ever don't have a way to attach it, but I don't like the card, I can shuffle it away. Oh, is this a blue-red Murktide action? It looks like it. This deck is very good. Another Urza Saga, that's definitely not bad. One way that you can beat this matchup in game 1 is by just overpowering them with Urza Saga. There's too many Saga tokens for them to answer. So this first Saga, when it pops, is probably getting Shadow Spear. I have a way to attach Hammer, but I don't actually have a hammer, so I might pick one. Or I could pick Sword of Fire and Ice because it is a blue-red deck, but I don't want to run out of creatures. I guess I'm not going to run out of creatures because I have Sagas. So if I'm not running out of creatures, then... Man, this is interesting. I think it's a hammer. If I pick Kaldra, that really incentivizes them to kill this Stoneforge Mystic. But if they don't, then maybe they have an Archmage's Charm, but then I can Paladin and re-equip the Kaldra. This is really tough. I'm gonna pick a hammer. Deck's named after a hammer. Picking hammer. Not playing it in case I draw Sigard's I do have Paladin already, but I could draw Sigard's Aid. Okay, they have Unholy Heat. Glad I didn't pick a Kaldra. Let's see, they'll probably surveil it into the graveyard, whatever it is, just because they need to get Delirium, and they need to fill the graveyard for Murktide. Yeah, consider. I would put that in the graveyard as well. Draw is an Esper Sentinel. That is actually not a bad one. So I can play... I'll have 4 mana sources. 1, 2, 3, 4. Will I have? I'll have 3 artifacts, but that's not enough. This is so close. I really want to play the hammer and the sentinel and the pure steel, and then attach the hammer to the sentinel. But I don't have 4 artifacts, so if they have a removal spell and hit the sentinel with my pure steel paladin on the stack, then I won't be able to reattach the hammer, so I don't think I'm doing that this turn. Sometimes they have main deck Blood Moon, occasionally, so I think I am going to fetch another basic Plains here. Then play an Esper Sentinel and make a Saga token. I'm waiting for a position where I can deploy Hammer and Paladin. Alright, here's my Sentinel. Here it is. And then I'm going to pass my turn and make a construct. I'll try and trade with all of their removal with my construct tokens, so that they hopefully run out before I have to deploy Pure Steel Paladin. Okay, I don't think they're going to attack here. If they do, what does that tell me? Yeah, they didn't. That tells me Relatively nothing. Them not attacking makes me think they have Archmage's Charm or Counterspell. Fetching now. Why? Are we killing my Esper Sentinel? Just so they can avoid paying the tax in the future? Looks like that's what they're doing. Yeah. Okay. Surveil. I don't know if I'd put everything into the graveyard here, especially not with a fetch land. But if I were playing their deck, I'd probably put everything that's not an expressive iteration into the graveyard. Yeah, it's an Unholy Heat. Okay, now I have a thing. They still don't have Delirium. I can play this land on tap this turn, which is really funny, but I'm probably playing a Saga instead. So, if I make a Construct, then I'll have only 1 mana left over, then I'll have 2 to play the Purist of Paladin. They only have 1 mana remaining, though, so I can float mana. I can get a Shadow Spear. I can play the Hammer. I can go to equip. I play the Hammer and then the Pure Steel. And I can go to equip on a token. I'll have 4 artifacts. So this does beat 1 removal spell. I think it's go time. Because they only have 1 mana available. I'll make the play that I wanted to on the previous turn. Okay, looks like they're going to kill my Construct. That's totally fine. I'll just put all my stuff on the Paladin instead. Okay. Alright, Counterspell in the bin. That makes sense. Alright, Construct's dead. Can I go now? Thank you. Okay. Do I want a creature instead of the Shadow Spear? This is the point where if I had a Ginger Brute in my deck, I would totally pick it, but I don't. So, Plan A was Shadow Spear. Plan B could just be like an Ornithopter or a Memnite. Memnite has power, so Memnite and then Pure Steel and Hammer, and then we go from there. But I can make more Construct tokens. I think I'm gonna pick the Shadow Spear. Here's my Paladin. I can do it in this order now. Because they're tapped out, so I get a card draw out of it, which is nice. Yes, I want to draw a card. Ooh. Hello. Definitely this. Oh, they just conceded. Okay. Seems... If they're just conceding on the spot, that they likely don't have Otawara or Brazen Borrower, because those cards do still play the game at this point. Alright. What am I bringing in here? Rest in Peace is good, and some number of Blacksmith skills and Spell Pierces are good. Kaldra on the draw, I don't love. Kaldra's kind of hit or miss in this match, because if it ever gets taken with an Archmage's Charm, I feel extremely sad. Steel Shaper's Gift I usually cut in this match to bring in more interaction. Rest in Peace is also kind of hit or miss, but it turns off their Delirium spells, so Dragon's Rage Channeler is only a 1/1 ever, and if it comes down before Murktide, they can never play a Murktide, and Unholy Heat is just shock instead of 6 damage. I wouldn't bring a second one if I had it, because I need to kill them, and the plan with Rest in Peace, it's not my entire game plan, it's just a way to slow them down. And then Blacksmith Skill is the best card in my sideboard, because it can beat... that was interesting. I only expected to pick up 1. Okay. Because it can beat any removal spell, and it can help me trade in combat if I need to, and it can do one interesting thing with a construct token, where with Dress Down in play, the construct token is a 0/0 that gets +1/+1 for each artifact that I control, and when Dress Down removes that ability, the construct dies, because it's a 0/0 with no ability. But if it's an artifact creature with Blacksmith skill that I'm targeting, then it gets +2/+2. So my thing will still survive as a 2/2, which is kind of funny. And then I only have a minute left. I should stop talking out my butthole. Okay, Ornithopter is the worst creature left in my deck, and since I'm cutting some zeros, I'm going to cut one Springleaf Drum. And we'll try this. It's possible that Spell Pierce on the draw here isn't actually that good. And if that's the case, I definitely want on the play. If it's not that good on the draw, I'm going to bring in one more 0 and the other drum in case they have, like, Blood Moon or something. And we'll go from here. And then I'll probably bring in Spell Pierce, and I might bring in Culture back on the play if I lose this game. Oh, hey, I have the one Ornithopter. So this hand has a hammer. I would probably keep this on the play, because Esper Sentinel on the play is much better. But on the draw... this hand is close. If I had a second land, that'd be the dream, but... unfortunately, that is not what this hand has. So I think I'm going to try again. But I'll think it out real quick, since I have 19 minutes left. Turn 1, I'm just going to deploy the Ornithopter and the Esper Sentinel. And if they have turn 1 Ragavan, I have a blocker for it. If they kill my Esper Sentinel, I can't block with Ornithopter. And then on my turn 2, I have another Esper Sentinel to deploy. And then that gives me 3 draws before I really need to find a second land. But the reward for finding a second land is just putting an 0/4 on the battlefield. That's not that great. I'm going to try again. Well, I still have chip. Okay, this hand's much better. I am going to put... I'm still playing a Sentinel on turn 1. I have 3 mana sources unless I put the drum... unless I keep the drum, in which case I have 4. But I think the other cards are more important than the drum here. So we're going to give this a shot and see how it goes. So I have access to a hammer. I don't have access to attaching a hammer, which is unfortunate. They're playing Bobble now, which means they don't have a Darcy or a Shredder, which means they have a Ragavan. Well, turn on Ragavan on... oh, they don't have anything. Okay, they're holding up a removal spell. Well, they're not going to kill my Esper Sentinel if they can give me a card... oh, hello. That's just the same hand as before. Sentinel, get in there. Ah, they're not going to kill my Sentinel. They're going to consider. Okay, the way that they're aggressively cantripping here makes me think that they kept a one-lander, which if I had Bobble and Consider, I would also be incentivized to keep that hand. Yep, there's the second land. Is this kill my thing, or is this a creature? This is kill my thing, okay. That makes sense. My thing's dead. Let's see, they have Artifact, Land, Instant. They don't have any... oh, okay, that's the play now. Yeah, that's definitely the card I'm going to play. I think I'm going to put Inkmoth on the battlefield. I'm going to play Rest in Peace. If they play Blood Moon, we have a really interesting game on our hands. Alright, get this in here before Murktide comes down. If you have Force of Negation, then I guess it's just Mind Rot, but they don't seem to have that. Okay. Blood Moon is a card I don't want to see. Expressive Iteration is the best card in their deck. This might be the best card in Modern right now. It doesn't read like the best card in Modern, but it definitely feels like it. They got a Bobble, okay. And then they put the land in their hand, or they just didn't find a land. Okay, they found double Bobble this turn. Okay. So yeah, it does look like they kept a one-land hand with a bunch of cantrips. That's how it looks like the game's playing out. It looks like I have only lands, which is about too many. Alright, Esper Sentinel is good against land light draws. They have 2 Bobbles coming up. I have a Saga on top. Man, I'm really good at drawing lands this game. But this game's still a game. Let's see, they drew 2 cards of bobble and 1 for turn. So if they miss on land again, they're kind of unlucky at this point. Rest in Peace makes Reality Chip really hard to kill. Yep, there's the land. It is a basic, which is very scary. This is Blood Moon. Since I didn't draw a basic plains. Okay, they are heating my Sentinel. That is fine. Since Heat and Bolt cannot kill Reality Chip. Drop return. Alright, Shadow Spear is not a land, so that's convenient. I'm gonna play Saga. Do I want to animate the Nexus? I could animate the Nexus, and I could attach the chip to the Nexus, which would let me play cards off the top of my deck, but that would be all my mana, so I don't get any advantage for doing that. If I hit it for 1 poison... The thing with hitting it for 1 poison in this deck is I usually hit it for lethal poison or 0. So 1 poison I don't think does a whole lot. But I literally have no other plays, so I guess I'll try it. I will go to attacks. I will attack you for 1 whole poison damage. I would like to politely request that you never draw a Blood Moon effect. Consider probably exiling something. Yep. Oh, no, they kept on top. That's terrifying. That is a good card to keep on top. I would have kept that on top. Let's see what happens now. Ledger Shredder into exile, and the 4th land into hand, probably. Fetching... If they fetch a basic, that's a very clear indication that Blood Moon is in their deck. Okay. They didn't fetch a basic, which is an unclear indication as to whether or not Blood Moon is in their deck. Alright, turn's over. My turn. Draw Shadow Spear. And to land on top. Okay. So I can make a construct token. And I can play the Shadow Spear. And so that's 1, 2, 3 mana. I have 1 left over. And I think I'm just going to play this Fountain tapped. Too many lands. Here's my Shadow Spear. So many lands. My Saga's going to pop, but I draw the card first. And Saga's a mandatory search, so I'm going to be real sad when I see, like, Pure Steel Paladin on top of my deck, and then I have to search, if that happens. I will go to end my turn, make a 2/2 construct, 3/3, Reality Chip's artifact. Can still be bolted. Alright, please no Blood Moon. Thank you very much. Is this an Archmage's Charm? For 3 blue? Taking my Shadow Spear? Oh, just drawing 2 cards. That's fine. I mean, I can't do anything about it. Maybe I should have brought in Spell Pierce. Turns out it would have been good against their Landlight draw. Okay, they found their 5th land. And here's the Channeler. They trigger the Shredder. Discarding the Murktide Regent. That makes sense. That is one of the reasons I brought in Rest in Peace, is to blank Murktide Regent. Do you want to chip in for 2? No? Okay. At the end of the turn, I will make Construct. That's kind of my entire game plan right now. I'll draw. Oh, fuck me. Jesus Christ. Why did I say that? Did that to myself. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 mana this turn. That's 1 short of attaching a hammer. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Okay, but now I have a fetch land, so even if I find a bad card on top of my deck, a weak one, I can shuffle it away. Alright, I must search. Okay, so I can get up basic planes now. And if I get Springleaf Drum, that gives me white, which can let me cast all of my spells through Blood Moon. I'm not sure if that's where I am right now, because my opponent has 6 cards in hand. I only have 2, which means if they ever draw out of this funk that they've been in for the last couple turns, then I'm basically dead. So I think I'm just gonna get a creature. Like, Ornithopter is the most resilient to Fury. But Memnite can attack and block with, like, Darcy and stuff. So I think I'm gonna get... screw it. I'll get Ornithopter for research. Okay, Blacksmith skill on top is a good one. It's not the best one, but it's a good one. I will attach to the one that can attack. That's the one that I want. And then I'll go to attack. Swing in for 6. Trample lifelink. Okay. And I will have them at 8 and pass the turn. Could have hit for 1 more damage if I'd animated the Nexus, but I don't know if I want to draw this Blacksmith skill. It's a good card, but if my board, like, explodes with something bad happening, then I don't want to draw this. I need to draw a new threat. Like if they have Hurkyl's Recall or something. Alright, there's the 3rd basic, which I think they would just fetch at this point anyway, whether or not they had Blood Moon. Blood Moon's still, like, one of the best cards they could have against my board right now. Darcy. Fine. And then they hold up multiple interactive spells. I think I do want this Blacksmith skill. Stoneforge is also a good draw. I can find the Sword of Fire and Ice, which is a really good card against them. So, do I try to reconfigure my chip onto Ornithopter so that I can cast this? And that costs 5 mana? I only have 5 mana. I don't think I do that. I suspect they have an Archmage's Charm, and I suspect they have a Counterspell. That's what 5 mana represents. Which is annoying, but I do get to fade the... I do get to beat the Archmage's Charm if they don't have Counterspell. If they have both, then at least I get to get it out of their hand. So I'm going to go to combat. I'm going to go to attacks. They let me go to attacks, okay. I will attack with my 2 big creatures, and I will see if they have an Archmage's Charm to steal one. Or if they have a Dress Down. Dress Down would be annoying here, because this would just become a 1/1. Okay, they do have Steal. Oh, they have Otawara. Alright, I'm glad I drew this card here. Now they can't even Counterspell. I did say that Blacksmith skill was the best card in my sideboard for this match. Let's see, so 8, they have to put at least 2 toughness in front of this. They have to put at least 3 toughness in front of this because I can animate Nexus. Oh, they just conceded they don't want to play this game. Okay, well, I have successfully done the thing with the 5-0 with Hammer Time. So that's great. I do think Hammer Time is a good deck in Modern. I think that Blue-Red Murktide is better at the highest level. I think the mix of threats and card selection hasn't been perfected yet, so because of specifically Ledger Shredder, where Darcy and Ragavan and Murktide are all known to be very good, and Ledger Shredder has been recently, I guess, innovated, and just people have discovered that it is also very good. but it's hard to tell how many threats are correct in that deck. And then Expressive Iteration is just an insane Magic card. It is... I don't think it's, in my opinion, better than just a 2-mana draw 2 cards straight up would be. But it's really close, because you do get some selection over it. If one of those first 2 cards is an extra land or is something that's uncastable, like a Murktide when I have Rest in Peace, then you don't have to pick that one. So the thing that card really does is it just is a 2-mana 2-for-1 that you don't have to jump through any hoops to play, which is extremely powerful. And the other deck that I think is ultimately the best deck in Modern that I don't run into in Leagues because it's very challenging to play in Leagues is the Yorion Pile. You can play with Risen Reef and Elemental synergies, or you can play with just like a 4-color control or like Ephemerate package. And I think that deck, when played optimally, is extremely powerful. I don't think it has any weaknesses at all, which is very frustrating. I think that deck is so demoralizing to play against when the pilot is excellent, that Yorion Pile. And it's a deck that makes me think that Wrenn and 6 is possibly too good for Modern, because Wrenn and 6 fixes all of the mana issues for that 4-color deck. And I love Wrenn and 6 as a card, as something that I think the design is kind of beautiful, elegant, almost. But it's in a way that, like, when I saw that and I first saw it being played in Jund midrange, that's why I thought it was such an amazing card, because it turned your Liliana of the Veil into a card advantage just straight up when you would plus, because you would just get back a land and keep ditching it, and you would just grind your opponent into dust. And it's a really... I enjoy watching Jund do its thing. It's a really fun deck to watch do its thing. It's kind of like the underdog in Modern right now, like Liliana of the Veil Boomer Jund kind of. And I thought that Wrenn and 6 was the perfect addition to that deck. And I think in that deck, it is an amazing card. But unfortunately, that's not the only thing Wrenn and 6 can do. Now it can fix your 4-color mana base so that you can even play a Magus of the Moon in your 4-color deck, which is just something that I kind of object to on a moral level. And it can rebuy your channel lands. Like, you could play one of each of them if you really wanted to, but the white one's not that strong in Modern. So you can play Boseiju, which is amazing, and you can loop it against, like, Tron or against Hammer Time. Sometimes I can get locked out under Boseiju if I don't have Kaldra. Or you can play Otawara, and then you can loop that and bounce it with Ren. And you could even play Sokenzen if you really wanted to, and have threats every turn in your control deck. And I think Wrenn and 6 looping spell lands is a little bit too good, and fixing your 4-color mana base to the point where you can play Magus of the Moon is a little bit too good. So those are the 2 decks that I think are clearly better than Hammer Time, and then better than the rest of Modern as well. But I did play against one of them as Hammer Time, and I think Hammer has a reasonably good matchup against Murktide. I think it's slightly favored for me. It's not surprised that I'm not surprised that I won, but I wouldn't be surprised if I lost either. They have a lot of draws that can kind of just floor me. Like, if I didn't have that Rest in Peace, I have no idea how their hand would have played out. Could have been much stronger. So those are my thoughts. I'm just rambling right now because I'm excited that I got the 5-0. And those are my thoughts as I finish the league. Thanks for watching.